There we
go. These are all my outtakes.
Yeah, right. Hi there. We're Ross and Allison Collingwood, and this year we had the privilege of hosting a young adult group here in our home, hosting and facilitating, and it was really a joy to be able to do that. So just sharing some thoughts with you, because probably all of us can agree this seems to have been a long journey, a kind of wilderness journey.
Experiencing isolation due to the COVID-19 pandemic and observing and being drawn into an unresolved racial divide that's been brought to the forefront of our attention. Something many of us have known existed but have been at a loss to know how to resolve.
This wilderness experience has demonstrated something for many of us as far as our faith journey is concerned, that we do not need to rely on the routines that we've lived with for much of our lives. Our faith is not sustained by rituals or by rules, by places or obligations, but at the heart of our faith is a personal relationship with Jesus. Like you, we've had to adjust. We have placed emphasis on other ways to sustain our faith experience. In a world without corporate gatherings, we can take advantage of a rich world of faith-building resources. A recent read for me is Eugene Peterson, the author of the Message Bible Paraphrase, who wrote a book it's really his story, called Every Step an Arrival. Eugene described the difficult times in his life. He describes it as the Badlands. And he uses that phrase because he would travel through the Badlands of North Dakota. In 1980, Eugene wrote a book entitled A Long Obedience in the Same Direction. In it he wrote, and I'd like to quote from it. He wrote this: Christian discipleship is a process of paying more and more attention to God's righteousness and less attention to our own. Finding the meaning of our lives not by probing our moods and our motives and morals, but by believing in God's will and purposes. Making a map of the faithfulness of God, not charting the rise and fall of our enthusiasms. It is out of such a reality that we acquire perseverance. So I reflect on that book title. What direction have I taken? What am I taking? Does my journey continue to be a long obedience in the same direction?
For a couple of years, we had thought about attending a prayer school that was offered by Pastor Brian Zahnd in Missouri. That would have involved travel, but the COVID-19 shutdown caused Brian to offer the prayer school online, spread over 3 evenings. Here was an opportunity in this time of very different faith building to learn to be better at prayer. So what was our rediscovery through the prayer school? A new appreciation for the richness of the prayers that the church has preserved going back hundreds of years. Prayers with rich language and prayers immersed in Scripture. And with these prayers in a folder, we're encouraged to repeat them daily. It does sound suspiciously repetitious, and in a way it is, but it does allow their deep truths to become embedded in our thinking.
An example is the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. This is a prayer that is less about my own self-centered requests of God and more about my life following in the way of Jesus. These prayers that we discovered or rediscovered through this prayer school are arranged in the rhythm of the prayer that Jesus taught us, the Lord's Prayer. First, we pause in worship to Him. Second, we express gratitude and then ask Him for my needs as well as my concerns for others. And it finishes by yielding myself to God for that day.
Another focus that we've been able to give time to in these last few weeks is probably caused by these times of isolation, has been to realize the importance of directing resources and energy towards our inner lives. We don't often talk about our inner life as our soul, but that is what it is. We hear about the soul, and we sometimes sing the song, "It is well with my soul." These times have given me reason to really focus on mine, my inner life, my soul. It's where I am who I really am. My attitudes, my hurts, my strengths, my hopes and wishes, how I think and behave, and where I respond to God and where I find courage and where I experience joy. A wise person has said, "I am in fact a soul, made by God, made for God, and made to need God," which means that I was not made to be self-sufficient. So it's my responsibility to tend to my soul. And because the soul is invisible, it's easy to neglect it. It's easy to stuff the emotional pain, the doubts, the resentments, and put on a brave face, or just get mad and lash out in self-protection. But God invites me to bring these life experiences to Him as I become aware of them and grow my soul in trust and confidence and contentment. God not only sees me, knows me, loves me, but He longs to keep breathing His life into me. And it's pretty easy to go through the outward motions of religious activity, but it's only in the deep, quiet place of the soul that I can honestly face the secrets, bring them to Jesus, and steadily over time react and respond as He does.
So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of our experiences. These are experiences that we would pray you might be able to bring into greater focus in your life in these times where we're less reliant on much of what we've been used to. We bless you with a deeper, richer prayer life. Try the experiences of praying some of these long established prayers of the church.
And as I was praying this past Sunday, this is how recent it is, I came across this phrase which expresses it for me. And so I would long that your prayer would be, "Father, gently open my soul and speak your word into it." Thank you. Thank you for being able to share this today.